does God exist? Where did God come from? What existed before God? How was the universe created? What existed before the universe? What is the meaning of life? I can answer all these questions and more. First of all, I am not religious. I simply pursue the truth. It is ignorance, a choice, to blindly and fully accept or deny everything in the world's largest religion, Christianity. No doubt, it has been modified and parts of it are copied from older religions. But that doesn't rule out the possibility that there is at least some truth behind it, lost in history. The only honest truth about God is that there is no decent evidence for or against its existence. No one can honestly claim that there is or is not a God. I propose an idea that there may in fact be a God, and that there is a reason why God remains anonymous and only ever operates through proxies. Before God existed, there was a paradox. Something cannot exist if it wasn't first created by something. Therefore nothing existed. But for nothing to exist, nothing is a something, and an absolute. So neither nothing nor something can exist. Only a paradox between the two. From that paradox, a random flux of incoherent chaos evolved in growing complexity and coherence. Different basic concepts phased in and out of existence, independent of each other and outside any concept of time. From countless possibilities, certain concepts were more stable than others. Eventually, coherence took shape and the different concepts began interacting with each other. As they interacted with each other, they created temporary timelines independent of each other, like bubbles of multidimensional space-time. Time is nothing more than the order of interacting forces. But these forces fizzled out, in and out of existence. As the chaos interacted with itself, logic took shape. Different concepts became stable. From the chaos, the same stable patterns repeatedly phased into existence. They multiplied and interacted in basic ways, such as mass. Objects of coherence gravitate toward coherence and away from chaos, creating the effect of mass. From within the evolving chaos, a repeating pattern emerged. The first life, the birth of God. This pattern became miniature for the chaos, and the basic coherence within the chaos gravitated toward it. The pattern became the focal point of all coherence. As it drew coherence from the chaos, it became more complex over time. It began to evolve, inside and outside of any coherence of time. Like a sun that draws dust and eventually ignites, the pattern eventually sparked to light the first consciousness. It eventually learned to draw from the chaos in such a way that it could manifest from the building blocks within the chaos. The pattern evolved to the very end of evolution itself, operating inside and outside of any relative time. It began to master the practice of creation from the chaos. And so God became God, evolved from chaos, created from a paradox. Our universe might not be the first universe to exist. It is said in the Christian Bible that there is a Son of God, and there are angels. These might have been created by universes of their own, running their own course. Our universe, however, came from a focal point where a certain traceable intervention happened. In the Christian Bible, it says that in the beginning the earth was a formless mass clothed in darkness. I propose that the mass was not God's creation, but the building blocks from chaos that God used to create the universe. And then God created light, which gave form to the mass. And that is exactly what light does. Light is made up of photons. When photons are compressed from a chaotic state, they make stable electrons. Electrons orbit the formless mass, protons and neutrons. Electrons orbit mass and repulse each other, separating the mass and giving form to it. I propose that our universe was not a sudden creation from chaos. Such a creation would be incoherent and go through many attempts and evolutions. Our universe is precisely functional. That suggests that either our universe is the current result out of many, or there was an intervention that manipulated the basic components that evolved from chaos. All research into this matter suggests a focal point of intervention. This fits exactly with what the Christian Bible says about the creation of the light principle, the principle that gives form to mass. By studying the reality of the universe, we can see the same patterns appearing over and over on different scales. An electron orbits a nucleus, in the same way as planets orbit suns and moons orbit planets. The same branching out of lightning can be seen in the branching out of a tree, or the branching out of evolution. The same network design is seen from the neurons of a brain in the distribution of the universe. The creation of life itself is not a freak of nature, but the nature of the universe. The same process of evolution in life resembles the same process of evolution God went through from chaos. The principles of God are embedded within the principles of the universe, and reveal themselves through life's evolution. Life in the universe is a simulation and recreation of God's creation and evolution from chaos, a process by which God creates other gods. So why doesn't God directly interact with the universe? For God to do that would damage the complexity of the universe and make it sterile and uniform. I propose that God has intervened here and there, and it has manifested as occurrences such as the 11:11 phenomenon. I propose that lesser created gods have also intervened, also creating this phenomenon and sending ripples of uniformity like a finger dipped in a bucket of water. If God and its previous creations are advanced evolutions of coherence and uniformity, then they have a direct impact upon anything in a flux of chaos they interact with. So God and its lesser creations can only interact in limited ways, and only in rare situations. Anything more would permanently damage the complexity of the universe. And for God to force life to obey its principles would override the whole purpose of life, which is to evolve other gods. For life to evolve into godhood, it must come to the same independent realizations of logic and coherence, just as God did. Otherwise it becomes a lifeless puppet to God's will. The key is that it has to be independent. Life must evolve from chaos, as God did, and reach the same conclusions independently. Evolution is a self-creating learning process that is still in progress. I put forward the idea that God is not truly omnipotent. God cannot conjure anything from nothing. God can, however, conjure things into reality by manipulating coherence from within chaos. I propose that our universe was created by creating a new component from within the chaos to interact with pre-existing mass. The very word God means tetragrammaton. Tetra means 4. Gramma means gram, a small measure of weight. Ton means large empty space or pallet. The word God means the 4 small measures of weight within the empty space, or the 4 basic components of the universe interacting with each other. There just happens to be 4 known forces that define the universe, and one of those forces being the intervening electrical force that gives form to mass. Since God is order evolved from chaos, God cannot be chaotic. God cannot create something from nothing, but can recreate itself by manipulating the pre-existing coherence from within chaos. Evil is a reversion of progressed order back to chaos, the very opposite of life's objective. It is the corruption and destruction of life and its objective to evolve. Evil is de-evolution, reverting to the primitive and chaotic. Evil is the vandalism of life's objective to evolve into godhood. It's important to note the issue of faith. Jesus taught about a different type of faith, faith that could move mountains. Believers choose to believe that belief and imagination can manifest nothing into reality, but that isn't how it works. Faith uses coherence that is already there from within chaos, else you are summoning chaos from chaos. A person of true faith will make use of what is really there. By picking up a shovel and start digging, they will eventually move the mountain through real, hard work. This person believes in doing it, and so they will work hard and actually do it. A person of false faith will choose to believe that belief and imagination itself can manifest out of absolutely nothing. The true way operates out of coherence. The false way operates out of chaos. This is why Jesus taught a certain type of faith, and that this faith can move mountains even if it is as small as a mustard seed. The lack of a pattern in prime numbers and the number pi reveals that our universe is not a fully constructed order out of chaos. The very concept of logic and the rules of the universe are only partly founded on order. They are still chaotic in their form. That suggests that the universe, even the very laws that guide it, are not fully constructed. The observation of the universe expanding shows that the universe wasn't created in a single event, but a process of evolving order out of chaos. The universe wasn't created, but still in the process of being created. The same process can be seen in the evolution of life, which is nothing more than the evolution of the universe running its course. As life has a point of origin, so does the birth of suns and so does the birth of the universe. These are specific points of critical mass where the evolution of chaos turns to order. The same critical mass can be seen in the most basic components of atoms, where chaotic energy is funneled into whirlpools of order. The same pattern can be seen in the whirlpool of galaxies and the eye of a storm. The nature of God in the Christian Bible is rarely mentioned, but it is mentioned a few times, describing God as a whirlwind, and everything from atoms to galaxies function on the same whirlwind principle. I could say a lot on the matter, but I hope you get the gist of it. Evidence points toward both the slowly evolving coherence from chaos, and an intervention that spontaneously created the universe. There is a big gap between chaos and the order of the universe. This suggests a third-party force of intervention, and the imprint of the intervention can be observed by studying the nature of the universe. To learn about God is to learn about the nature of the universe and how the same principles appear on different scales and reveal themselves in evolution. Concepts such as morality and the difference between truth and lies are learned through evolution. Evolution inevitably leads to the same conclusion of godhood. It is very likely that because of logic, the same evolutions can happen on different planets independent of each other. The same basic structure of highly evolved life, 2 arms, 2 legs, a head, 2 eyes, etc. These evolutions are the result of logic playing itself out. What works, works. What doesn't, doesn't. The form by which life inevitably evolves stored is the form of a new, independently created God, based on the foundational principles set by the original God and in the original verses in the Bible that refer to God. It is not singular but plural, and a plural that operates through the tetragrammaton, which is not one but the interaction of 4 forces. A plural that operates through 4 forces, a sun, 8 archangels and many billions of other angels, isn't a singular entity. It may however be a plural that can at least sometimes act as a unified force. There may or may not be a God, but the nature of the universe suggests that something or someone did intervene, and the nature of that which intervened is imprinted into the nature of everything in the universe, especially life itself. If there is a God, that God is probably not the same God as believed in mainstream religions. The very word God has been twisted and used as an umbrella term that describes many different things. It is a fill-in word, where the original words cover a wide variety of different groups and individuals. Some things attributed to God might in fact be God. Other things attributed to God are not God but another third party that has been mislabeled as God. Therefore, when God said this and did that, we are talking about very different groups and individuals all operating in the name of God. Anyone can speak in the name of God, but who can tell which voice is the true one? There is one way to know. Learn the nature of the universe. Understand the principles of logic. Use the tools given to you through evolution. Create order from the chaos. Reason is the point of critical mass where life can finally meet God, and reason is the very thing that mainstream religions led their followers away from. The only true voice is the one that withstands the fire of debate. I claim to be such a voice. It's important to note that none of this speaks for or against the concept of an afterlife. For there to be an afterlife, there must be a significant intervention upon or after death. Without that intervention, consciousness dissipates back into chaos. It is a sad but true fact that we all must face. However, since energy and the base components of the universe are eternal and nothing is ever wasted, why would consciousness be an exception to that rule? It is said in the Christian Bible that the dead stay dead. until a moment of intervention that brings all life back into being. All life is then to be sorted and distributed according to their works. I suggest that such an intervention is plausible, but can only happen at the end of evolution. Anything before that will be like plucking a harvest before its time. And that is the very same terminology used in the Bible. The intervention itself will permanently damage or destroy the structure of the universe, and can only be done once the universe has run its course. I also suggest that we weren't meant to know for sure whether there is an afterlife. Knowledge of it would make us immortal and change the way we live our lives. Through mortality, we reveal our true colors and life for today, contributing to the progress of evolutionary heritage. The mysteries of life and death are hidden for the purpose of revealing the imprinted, hidden nature of life. By revealing the hidden nature of life, life has the capacity to flower into godhood. It isn't that we were never meant to know and understand, but that we were never meant to know and understand until the right disposition evolved true intellectual enlightenment. Mainstream religion can therefore be considered a corruption of that principle. It is a combination of knowledge that we were never meant to know yet, mixed with half-truths and outright lies to deceive and lead evolution astray. Have not all religions intentionally manipulated the path of evolution? For better and worse, the same can be said for all ideologies, religious or otherwise. Ideologues are a corruption of nature, the very threat to life. They seek to discredit, erase and override the heritage of human nature and evolution, and replace it with their ideology, using mankind like puppets, clay to bend and mold to their own will. Ideologues have sold out their heritage, and no longer operate as part of the tree of life. It is not for mankind to subjugate nature with ideologies, but to learn about itself by understanding and living by the principles of nature. Ideologies are toys for wayward, intellectual children. Ideas don't need the pedestal and rigid conformity of an ideology. True ideas stand on their own right, in the fire of debate,